Right, I think we're ready to kick off. Well, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us in this special Twitter Space event to talk about the Polkadot ecosystem and how the Polkadot Blockchain Academy is shaping the next generation of blockchain leaders. We're delighted to have Lauren Lee, Developer Relations Engineer at Parity Technologies, Polkadot Academy alumni, and currently one of the smart contract instructors at the Academy in Berkeley with us. All right. We also have Aaron Bassett, Principal Developer Relations Engineer at Parity Technology, Polkadot Academy alumni as well from Buenos Aires, the second wave, and currently one of the instructors at the Academy in Berkeley with us. And last but definitely not least, we are joined today by Bradley, our core Rust core developer at Parachains Engineering, Parity Technology, and an Academy alumni who graduated from the very first Academy in Cambridge. And Bradley has been teaching at the second academy in Buenos Aires and is now teaching in Berkeley as well. And we want to congratulate Bradley as well because he recently joined the Polkadot Fellowship just less than a year after graduating from the academy and joining the Polkadot ecosystem. So congratulations, Bradley, and very welcome to the space.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here, and hello, everyone.
Fantastic. So we're delighted to have all of you here with us today. Most of our audience is familiar with the Academy, but for the benefit of those of you who haven't been introduced to its mission yet, so the Polkadot Blockchain Academy was founded by Polkadot founder Gavin Wood, designed to train the next generation of top blockchain engineers. The first academy took place in July 2022 in Cambridge, followed by a successful second wave in Buenos Aires in January 2023. And now we're running our third wave in Berkeley. The goal of the Academy is to take talented engineers who are at the very beginning of the Web3 journey, teach them everything they need to know to become brilliant Web3 engineers, and provide them with an opportunity to join and contribute to the Polkadot ecosystem. But enough of intro, so let's hear more from those people who have actually been through the Academy and who are teaching the new generation of students here at Berkeley with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, folks. Sorry, Alexandra, we weren't able to unmute ourselves for a moment, but I think that we're all good. Aaron, do you want to just test your speaker real fast as well?
Yeah, I think I should be able to talk now. Hopefully you
We
can hear me all.
can. Fabulous. Okay. Hi, friends. Bradley, it's great to hear your voice. I'm so excited for you to join us very soon. We currently are, let's see, it's week 3 of PBA right now. So last week we just finished up. We had the smart contracts as well as the blockchain modules. Students handed in their week 2 assignment, and now we are jumping immediately into Substrate this week. We're in day 2 of that module. So it's been a really busy and a very intensive program, of course, so far, but a ton of learning is happening, of course. And let's see, students are talking about Substrate and Polkadot, as well as governance. And then the students of the founders track, they're meeting more Polkadot ecosystem founders this week. You know, they're having firsthand learning experiences from those who've, successfully started their projects, which is just so cool. But Bradley, I think it'd be so cool to hear from you. You're coming to teach, you're coming to the Academy, I believe, next week. But as someone, working on the Parachains core team, what knowledge have you gained in the last year that you will impart onto the students? What are you excited to be teaching? And maybe even then what's going to be different from what you taught the Wave 2 when I was a student in Buenos Aires?
Yeah, so I guess to establish some context here, I got hired onto the Parachains core team at Parity, and I'll cover briefly what we do on the Parachains core team. So uh, Polkadot is supposed to be essentially block space as a service. That is what Polkadot is delivering to its parachains. And the Parachains core team is really the team responsible for writing the logic that delivers that service. And we do so by validating parachain blocks and placing those parachain blocks on the Polkadot relay chain. So there are all sorts of mechanisms that are necessary for that validation process to make it efficient, to provide the maximum amount of block space possible, and to make it secure so that we're providing high quality block space that is both economically secure and bug-free. So what I'll be covering at the Academy in UC Berkeley, I'll be covering a few different things that I learned on the Parachains core team. I did some work involving availability cores, which are uh, the unit that came up in Gav's most recent talk that essentially divides up and allocates our block space that we are producing and makes it available to the various parachain teams. Also, I'll be talking about Cumulus, which is the sort of this low-level parachain side code base that allows them to generate parachain blocks and pass them off to Polkadot validators. And finally, I'll cover asynchronous backing, which is sort of this much heralded performance increase for all of Polkadot, which essentially happens by pipelining parachain blocks, by having different blocks complete different stages of the validation process at the same time. Now, that's very different from what I covered in Buenos Aires. There, I was covering OpenGov, which was just freshly released on Kusama at the time. So it's fresh content, a fresh view for students at Berkeley versus any other academy.
I love it. Love some exclusive content. Thank you, Bradley. Yeah, it's neat that it's ever evolving, the content, the curriculum, right? It's reflecting the latest developments of Polkadot, and further, it's just, I think, the best to see students from the academy giving back to the community as developer, as teachers, as instructors, as TAs, and it enhances the knowledge of the students of the next generation of blockchain engineers, but also ensures that it's the experts delivering the content, as Gav's vision was as well. So it's awesome to see that you're really doing the thing, Bradley. I love it. I can't wait to see you next week. I'm stoked.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
living the vision. But okay, so let's transition then. Aaron, I would love to talk about, academy knowledge that we teach the students. It also has other utilities, if you will. It can enable and the awareness of spreading the knowledge of Polkadot to the developer community itself. So I'd love to talk about how you've been able to apply the knowledge gained at PBA to your everyday life from the DevRel perspective.
Sure. And I probably should make the point first that like people who have heard of developer relations before, there's lots of kind of different ways of approaching it, depending upon kind of the company and the culture and things that the DevRel team is embedded in. And like most things at Parity, our DevRel team is very much engineering led. We really start from, even though it's an awareness play, and a lot of times we really do start from the code first, looking at what are the real world use cases, how can we use Substrate or use Frame or use Ink or use whatever to answer those use cases, how we can best kind of employ the tech. So really, I couldn't think of a better way for me to onboard and for me to learn all of these different technologies that I could be using in any given day than going to PBA. It is such a intense introduction to such a wide range of different technologies in their ecosystem that it's kind of almost perfectly suited for onboarding for DevRel, if I'm being honest. And also, I can't really play down as well. There is another aspect to it that we haven't really, I don't think, touched upon yet, is as well as learning technology, you're also getting to meet all of these different instructors and your fellow students and parachains and everybody else, often in person for the first time. We are a distributed company here at Parity. We're fully remote. We've got people from all over the world. And okay, yeah, we have, sometimes we have like the company retreats and things where you can meet people, but you don't get as much time really to interact with them, or I find anyway, as you do at something at PBA. The instructors that I met during cohort 2, have become like good friends of mine now at Parity, and I rely upon them a lot. To be able to, anytime I've got a question about like a particular part of the tech, or particular best practice, or I need somebody to bounce some ideas off about like some content we're going to produce or a new initiative we want to run, I'm turning to those people that I met during PBA, like. And I really can't downplay just the connections that you can foster there.
Yes, actually, I'm looking through those listeners in the chat today, and it seems like we have a lot of our fellow grads from PBA Wave 2, some of our friends from that, and then also some students from the current cohort, which I think class is happening right now. So I'm not sure how you're listening, but thank you for being here. Um, Actually, let's even talk about the student experience in general at the Academy. Bradley, Aaron, can you both talk about who are the students that are attending? And Bradley, acknowledging you're not here yet, but we could talk about, tell me about the students of Wave 1. You know, who were the Cambridge students? Who attended Buenos Aires, and who's here now?
Yeah, so I can at least speak to the students of Wave 1. And I guess first talking about my background, because I was one of those students. I was a game developer at the time. Like, I had no experience with blockchain other than this sort of avid interest that I had been developing for a couple of years, but
Wow.
I had not coded for blockchain
Oh
at
my
all.
gosh.
I was a game
I did
developer,
not know that was your
and that was
background.
just over a year ago.
That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so really, it does take all types, and especially the first academy, we had folks from non-technical backgrounds. We had people out of academia, and such a variety of experience levels. We had people who are veteran coders, 10, 20 years of experience, and we had people who maybe were in their second year of undergrad. Uh, so really, really a diverse set of folks, and it is a global community. We had folks representing from every continent except Antarctica, unless I missed someone. uh, yeah, and some unlikely friendships came out of that. I have friends who I'm regularly in contact with from the Netherlands, from Germany, from Uruguay, uh, from Argentina. It's really awesome to form those relationships, and some of them do stick. Like those best people you meet there. Uh, yeah. That was my
I love
experience at least.
that. Yeah, no, that feels so good. I should share. Yeah, I went over to one of our classmates' houses for dinner the other evening from Wave 2 from Buenos Aires, who happens to live in Berkeley and is now it's Nate, who was an instructor during the cryptography module on week 1. And so it feels,
Oh,
yeah, it's
cool.
so cool to be able to connect the dots internationally, right? If you're traveling abroad, or you're, let's say in Lisbon for Sub-Zero coming up for our conference, it's likely you'll be able to find one of your PBA classmates and get together. So that is it's a beautiful thing. Aaron, do you want to share your experience?
Sure, yeah, and I kind of want to point out as well. Like I was there. I was lucky enough to attend cohort 2. I was already an employee at Parity at the time. Whenever I went to kind of Buenos Aires, so I knew some of the instructors kind of a little bit from meeting at like company retreat, but I didn't really know them in any great detail. And obviously didn't know any of the students and things before I attended. But now it's not just like the Wave 2 students I know. I find that it's just kind of like PBA alumni in general, kind of have this bond together. We all know what we all went through. It's very, even if you were in cohort 1 or cohort 2 or now cohort 3, they are different, but they also have a lot of the same kind of intensity. And yeah, so it's kind of a bit of a bonding experience regardless of which wave you went to. Like I was at Decoded recently. And bumped into a lot of people I knew through the kind of alumni, or because they've now started working at a parachain or at Parity itself, who had been Wave 1. I'd never met these people like in person before, but you immediately have this kind of kinship with them because you've had that kind of shared experience, and that's great as well. And as Bradley said, like I was one of the, I think you called it veterans. I'm gonna take that as a nice way of saying that has been in the industry for way too long. But yeah, I was one of those kind of 20 year plus coders who had kind of gone to the academy. And yeah, it is a complete range of people. I remember, so to let some context, the classes finish at kind of like maybe 5 or 6 o'clock, but you have assignments almost every evening. So work doesn't finish till much later than that. And some people would stay behind in the classroom to work on it. Other people go back to the the accommodation. I like to get a change of scenery, so I sometimes just like grab my laptop and head to one of the like local Buenos Aires bars. And I remember saying that to one of the students, being like, "Hey, I'm going to head out from the classroom, go work from a bar, and they were like, "Oh, I've never." And it just dawned on me this person had barely turned 21. It was such a kind of sudden realization for me. There was such a wide range of ages and experiences and of people attending this cohort, and that was kind of like a really nice thing to see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's wonderful to bump into now our fellow classmates and see what they're all doing within the ecosystem as well, and celebrating, roles that they found, or opportunities, at different parachain teams or projects that they're starting up on their own. It's really living out the goal of the program itself, also, I think, and just seeing them flourish. So it's really fun to celebrate those wins as well. But I acknowledge that there's probably a lot of listeners today that are aspiring to join the Academy for future waves and future cohorts. So I would be curious, what opportunities do you see unfolding in the Polkadot ecosystem? How can the Academy prepare them for those prospects and from your perspective? And this is open to either of you.
Sure. I guess I'll start on that topic. So, from a tech angle, we have these incredible composable multi-chain applications that are becoming possible via XCM, via cross-chain message passing of various forms, both through the relay chain and directly between parachains. And increasingly, we're going to have access to Accords, this new feature that Gab spoke about with Polkadot 2.0. Accords are going to be coming online at some point. These are going to be the most truthful cross-chain, the most truthful cross-chain environment for executing code and for hosting these applications, where chains that have different governance processes, different stakeholders really can trust each other, uh, because it's all there, it's all mapped, and it's being done properly. There's a design space there that is becoming available just now that is going to be uh, so deep. Like you could spend an entire career just drilling down into all of the possibilities there. Uh, Similarly, we have these customizable app chains, and the ability to customize your chain to support particular kinds of operations, maybe to support a particular industry, not to be this general purpose blob. Uh, that might make service to otherwise unserviceable verticals possible. Like some of these sort of bigger data or more impactful applications of blockchain are going to be opened up by app chains or by heterogeneous chains, as Rob has spoken of them, where maybe they have smart contract capability and sort of this app chain specificity. Uh, And finally, we have this second to none on-chain governance that provides this uh, necessary legitimacy to enable collaboration with established industrial and potentially governmental partners. So all of these are kind of unique design angles that Polkadot enables, and the Academy will set students up so that they can find their place in the development stack or in the awareness providing stack, what have you. That they could become an say a decentralized app developer, a parachain developer, a core developer. Really, you get some exposure to all of those things at the Academy.
I love it. I think that is so cool to hear about, just the cutting edge content and curriculum that we're covering feels like it's equipping someone to be able to jump in really quickly into our ecosystem and build. And gone are the days of onboarding time. It's just like you're ramped up and ready to go, which feels, what a cool opportunity, and an unblocker there to be off to the races and to build something really incredible, that is, fulfilling a lot of our Web3 visions and philosophical pieces as well. I think, Aaron, you're having some connectivity issues, so I will. Oh, wait, you've unmuted.
Oh no, I think I should be back.
You're
Hopefully,
back.
I
Okay,
had
do
to
you want
quit
to
and
answer that
rejoin
question?
again.
Do you
Yeah,
want to answer this question?
yeah, I can. It's one of those kind of ones now where I'm like, I'm on like what's it now, X space via SpaceX. So you'd think the connection would be a little bit better, but yeah. So the opportunities available to people in the ecosystem, it really kind of initially, I think it was very much focused upon joining kind of engineering, through kind of like Gav's initial vision, and I think that still is a huge part of it, and we can see that through like the entrance requirements. Like the Rust exam. It seems like each cohort is getting that little bit more complex, and just requiring that little bit more work, and that's really honestly to better prepare students for just what they're going to encounter when they come to PBA. We want people to be really set up for success. And the instructors have so much to go through with regards to kind of Web3 and blockchain that they just can't really take the time to do the kind of fundamentals of Rust programming. So I can understand why that requirement is becoming stricter and stricter over time, and it does like really be there to help people set up for success. So they can come to their cohort and just be ready to really get stuck into the blockchain and Web3. But at the same time, I'm really excited by the kind of move that we're seeing to also look at, not strictly engineering roles within the ecosystem. Like, how can we also support different types of people wanting to join, but also coming through the academy? And then this cohort was the first time we've had a founders track, for example. So the founders track, they're still here at the academy. They're still attending a lot of the modules, but it's not as engineering focused. It's more about somebody who may have an idea for somebody they want to build it within the ecosystem. They may not be an engineer themselves. They definitely probably have some experience in engineering, but they're at the academy really to learn what is possible. To be there to pitch to investors. Also, maybe there to find like a technical co-founder. Like I can really see some of the connections already happening between different students and the cohort, and some of these founders who are like getting excited about the products they want to build with an ecosystem, and hopefully can then bring on some of these students as well from their cohort, to help them kind of realize that vision. So that's kind of excited me, and the possibilities there of people not just like moving into existing parachains or moving into like parity itself, but actually be able to find these new teams and these new products while at the academy, and having kind of like that be an almost an incubator or accelerator for new products within the ecosystem. But that's not to discount like the already existing parachains as well. I think this has been the first cohort where we've had people come from the parachains as instructors, who are actually giving like lessons in individual modules themselves, and having that kind of involvement, I think, is really important too, because there is a lot of really incredible products and projects already out there in the ecosystem that people may either may not be aware of, or they're not don't have the connections to go to speak to somebody there to hopefully get recruited to go work on that project. And coming to something like PBA really opens up like all of those connections in that network for you. Like you have people from those projects who are building these parachains here as instructors, teaching different modules. So that's a great thing to see. And also that we do have other ones coming to speak at like side events, or just here to kind of meet the students. And yeah, it's a great way to really get involved in the ecosystem, and that opens up so many different possibilities.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, having the ecosystem founders here to speak to the founders track, that just feels like we're opening so many potential doors for students, and I'm excited to see what comes with future waves of this. Is, as you said, the first time we have this founders track, and I know it's going to grow over time incredibly so. So it's fun to see, what the first iteration of it will be. I can't wait to hear what their pitches will be and what their projects will become moving forward, and to watch that evolve over time as well. It's true. There are really a whole lot of exciting things happening within the ecosystem, and this is just such a microcosm showing all of it in one place in Berkeley, California, for this month that we're all together. But I do want to open this up to the audience because we have a ton of listeners and folks here today. What questions do you have about the Academy? What curiosities are yet to be unfolded, and what can we answer if you're an aspiring student, or if you are an alumni listening? And thank you so much. What topics do you think that we should be covering as well? But yeah, what you would do is you request to be a speaker, and we'll bring you up on stage if you have questions for myself, for Aaron, for Bradley, or for, I suppose, our host, the Academy itself, which we have representatives from as well. If there are any, of course.
Everybody's so shy.
No, not shy at all. Well, I guess we can keep talking, and if I want to, this is an open call for participants. Of course, please raise your hand. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll of course give you that time to share your question. But I guess we could talk, Aaron. We just finished up the smart contracts and the blockchain modules last week in week 2, and we had a pretty heavy hand in that curriculum. Can you speak to teaching styles and how what the classroom dynamic, what that looks like? Is it lectures? Is it hands-on activities? What does the day-to-day life of a student, what does that look like?
Sure. And I think this is going to differ a lot depending upon who you actually
For
have as your
sure.
instructor.
That's actually what I
Like
want.
I know.
Aaron, can you go first? And then I want Bradley to speak about what his style of teaching will be when he goes next week.
Sure. Yeah. So for the smart contracts, we really did focus an awful lot on kind of hands-on learning. There was multiple different activities. For anybody who's kind of familiar a little bit with like Grandpa, we did an exercise where we simulated Grandpa on a bunch of whiteboards with markers. So that's a lot of fun. We had like a lot of coding exercises that people could do during class. We had a game very similar, I would say, to Battle Snake, if people are familiar with that, but written in ink, which a lot of the cohort had a lot of fun playing. I get to see that up on the big screen as we all played together. That was a lot of fun. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities for kind of hands-on learning, for starting to write kind of different code. And that was actually probably the first time, I think, was this cohort where we instead had focused on smart contracts rather than it just being an ink module. Students had an opportunity to write not only in ink but also in Solidity and in Viper, because it kind of really, we wanted to try and emulate as closely as possible as what they could be doing in the ecosystem. And if you're going to be creating with Moonbeam, for example, they have multiple different smart contract languages you could be coding in. So we wanted to make sure that those were all represented too. So there was definitely a lot of hands-on stuff. We had a lot of obviously in class time as well, for students to kind of more lecture format. Really good amount of back and forth, I thought, with students in this cohort in particular. Plenty of questions coming back, a lot of kind of class discussion, which I always love to see. And then we wrapped it all up with the assignment, which was given out on Thursday, and then people had, and this is the first time we've done this, I think, where people have had to give it back on the Saturday rather than the Sunday. They get the assignment a day early, but have to give it in a day early. And I've kind of honestly been enjoying that because it means the students then have an entire day to go and do something else. Like I was in Buenos Aires for 5 weeks, and I don't think I ever saw anything beyond kind of like my accommodation and the college for like the entire time, because we were just so busy the whole time. And now at least like you're seeing in the kind of cohort chat that they have that day, and people are like, booking tickets to go see Alcatraz, or they're going rock climbing, or they're going like biking, and I think that kind of balances it a little bit, and definitely kind of helps, I think, people arrive back on Monday morning feeling a bit more refreshed and a bit ready to take on the next module.
And it also offers that opportunity for folks to brainstorm projects together, to brainstorm things to be doing after PBA, or founders to be finding their technical co-founders or devs to work on their projects. It's that bonding cohort time that is so important,
Yeah,
where folks
it
build
is. It is.
relationships that will last a lifetime. So I'm super glad to see that as well. Bradley, talk to me about your teaching style. What can students expect there?
Uh, really, so teaching within the Polkadot module takes on two sort of sections. There's the hands-on, which is almost entirely exercises in class, walking students through creating their own custom parachains, attaching those, connecting those to a shared relay chain, say winning a parachain slot auction, maybe participating in governance and what have you. So that's the really applied aspects of what it means to be a part of this parachain relay chain network that Polkadot is an instance of. So that's the applied side. Then we've got the theory. And the trouble here is to try and boil down the theory to something that can be delivered within an hour or two. Because for any of these sections of the parachain block validation process, there is absolutely as much depth as you want to add. The trouble is paring it back to a point where people can really understand what's going on and giving them a window uh, into this world that is comprehensible. And increasingly, we are refining that process and doing a better and better job of say exposing someone to asynchronous backing in a way that they can really take some core ideas home and not just feel confused.
It's a challenge. I empathize. That is a to concretize the learning, and then also here quick play with it and build is it's a feat, but it's I think very thoughtfully curated. So I appreciate all the work there as well. Okay, so I think that we could welcome folks to the stage if they have questions. I do believe we have a question from the audience, and that is while we welcome other folks up on stage, if there are requesters, I can populate this one, which is, do you necessarily have to be an engineer to access the academy? Aaron, I believe you spoke to this briefly when talking about the founders program.
Hmm.
So do you want to kind of address that?
Sure. So yeah. Up until this cohort, very much so. There. I don't know if people are aware of kind of what the previous kind of entrance exam was, but there is a technical exam in Rust that you must complete first before really you get access to the main interviewing process. And not to downplay it, like it is difficult. You do need to be pretty familiar with programming and with Rust in order to complete it. And it's not there so much to be like gatekeeping. It is there to ensure that students are set up for success. That they can come to the academy already prepared to to really get stuck in with the content of it. And like it would be difficult for somebody who wasn't able to pass that test to come to the academy and actually be able to complete the module. So it's there to allow people to kind of see what the baseline requirement would be. Now that was up until this current cohort, and a lot of this stuff is kind of like trialing and changing it as we go and kind of figuring out what works, and we'll refine it over different cohorts. Like we're still kind of doing, even with some of the modules currently in PBA, from like cohort 1 to 2 to 3, there's going to be slight changes, adjustments throughout, and there probably will be for the founders track as well. But that just got launched this cohort, and that's for people who they probably have some technical background. Any of the founders I've spoken to so far have at least some engineering experience. Some wouldn't be able to complete the full Rust exam, for example, for entry, but that's not an requirement for them. They have a different set of assignments, and while they do attend some of the modules, it's more to see theoretically what is possible with the technology. They're not expected to become core engineers or anything like that. They won't get the same engineering assignments. They will have their own assignments that are more around kind of coming up with an idea and creating a pitch deck and delivering that pitch eventually to investors, VCs, and the rest of their classmates to look for that kind of technical co-founder as well. But that's the first time we've had like an element of the academy that is not purely for engineers. And personally, I think it's being really successful. the founders I spoke to are getting a lot out of it. I'm really interested to see what they end up pitching. I think that will be really exciting to see as well. So I've got really high hopes for the continuation of this as part of this founders track as part of PBA going forward.
Me too. Yeah, I'm so excited to see what comes from it, and I think it's neat to carve out these different potential tracks that students can learn and be a part of the ecosystem. We know that there's a space within the ecosystem for a lot of different skill sets as well beyond engineering itself. And so thank you for speaking on that. I hope that that answered your question. And we'll move on. There's another question in the chat. Again, feel free to raise your hand to ask a question as well. But one of the questions is, what are some online communities for people learning Substrate that we have found helpful ourselves? I personally can answer a bit of that, and Bradley and Aaron, of course, you can as well. But we have some really great online resources, the edX program. There's an intro to Rust as well. That curriculum was really quite helpful for folks who are prepping to apply to the program. Of course, working through wrestlings, that's a personal favorite of mine as well, because as Aaron mentioned, to be accepted into the engineering track, we do expect a deep level of understanding of Rust and expertise there. So to really level up, that is an important piece. But then when it comes to Substrate, personally, I think jumping into hackathons is the way to build, to get your hands dirty, to code, to go through the docs, and to really try to build something with colleagues and friends. And so I always like to keep an eye out for those opportunities, because that's personally how I learn. But are there other resources that folks want to share?
Sure, I can speak to this a little bit. I think the three most common kind of ones, if you're looking for community, if you're looking for somewhere to meet with other people, to ask questions, and to get kind of help that way, whether it be from other developers in similar situation or from Parity itself, is probably the Substrate Stack Exchange, as well as Stack Overflow itself. But we do have our own dedicated Stack Exchange as well for Substrate, and then the Polkadot forum is a great resource for asking questions too. As for learning Substrate, as Lauren said, having a really good understanding of Rust is going to help you a lot. Like Substrate, it is just Rust at the end of the day. Yes, there's a lot of kind of particular things or ways in which we do stuff in Substrate, but all of it is just Rust. So having a really good understanding of Rust and using all of the resources there are available to learn Rust, whether it be I personally like the Brown University, their version of the Rust programming language book, as it has kind of built-in tests within the different chapters or sections of the book to allow you to test your learning as you read the book itself. So I like that particular version of the Rust language book. Rust things that Lauren mentioned, obviously there too. One of the things I would emphasize if you are trying to learn Substrate is really focus on kind of generics and advanced traits. So for people who are not so familiar with how Substrate's put together, things are in Frame, sorry, we organize a lot of stuff into palettes, which are Rust crates, and these palettes are designed to be composable. So you can chop and change which palettes you want to use to compose your particular specialized blockchain from. And because of that, they're made to be very kind of generic and loosely coupled to each other, which means that like in Rust, you will need to use a lot of generics, a lot of kind of advanced traits and things. So having a deep understanding of those before you come to Substrate will really, really help if you're learning. But yeah, and then once you get to Substrate itself, I'm afraid at the moment, the best place to learn it is probably in the code. And I know on the developer relations team, we are doing our very best to improve the documentation within the code itself. But that's still like, once you've got all of the other prerequisites we talked about done, that is probably the best way to really learn what's capable within Substrate.
Awesome. Any tips from you, Bradley, your personal experience to share?
I mean, I can't speak as much to Substrate in particular because I learned all of this kind of as one. It's Polkadot, Parachains, Cumulus, Substrate, like all of it was knowledge I was taking on
Sure.
at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, but really, I do have to second that the rubber meets the road when you actually look at the code. Like you suddenly things become so clear once you look at the actual data structures that you're using and pick those apart and see, well, and this is something that Rob Habermeyer said a while back, is you need to just be asking yourself why all the time. When you're looking at the code, just say, why is this piece of data tucked in here? Where does it get used? Surely there's a reason why we're caching this thing. Surely, and maybe there's not, but you need to figure out that, say, this piece of code is unnecessary, if it is unnecessary. So asking that why and just delving down as far as you need to go to, I guess, answer all your questions in a particular area, that applying that sort of methodology to the code, that's how you'll gain this holistic understanding of what you're building.
Well, I love that. What great departing advice I think that we can leave folks on, because I think this is a good place to wrap up here. Bradley, thank you for sharing that question. I leave us all with that kind of wondering for today of, be sure to think about the why. Why are we excited about this project? You know, what is this answering? And what good can it do within our ecosystem too? There's so much opportunity as well. So I really appreciate both of you for sharing your experience, both as a student, now as faculty, and on the evolution of this program of the Academy, and as it grows and shifts and changes. And if there are future applicants in the chat listening today, thank you for being here. Of course, please ask your questions that you have and leave them in this thread on Twitter, or I should say X, and we will be sure to asynchronously answer them as well. Make sure you get the resources that are available when applying or learning more about this program, both the founders track as well as the engineering track. Thank you so much, Bradley, Aaron, for giving us your time today. I realize prepping lessons for the Academy is tiresome work. So Bradley, I'll let you get back to that. And Aaron, I believe you have some grading to do for week 2 assignments. So I appreciate you both so much.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
everybody.
Excited to teach next week.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, Lauren, for this amazing moderation. And thank you very much to Bradley and Aaron again for sharing your experiences and also for your contributions to the Polkadot ecosystem and to the Academy. And if you are a student looking to apply to the Academy, do visit our website, polkadotacademy.com, and follow us on our social media to make sure you're up to date on all the behind the scenes of what's happening in the Academy. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time, and have a good day. Bye.